Hello, and welcome to another episode of Straight Guy K-Drama Reviews, the show where I watch a K-drama and then I review it from a straight guy's perspective. This week, we're going to talk about the ultra, mega, super popular hit Crash Landing on You. It's easily one of my favorite K-dramas that I've seen so far, and that's why I'm excited to do my 10-point review. Okay, so number one, let's talk about the plot. So the basic plot is there's a paragliding accident, and so a rich heiress from South Korea finds herself stranded in North Korea, where she's found by a soldier, and their subsequent attempts to escape actually builds their love story, and so all these problems start coming out from that situation. So that's really the basic plot, and there's not much to it if you want to talk about it systematically plot wise, right? um, they actually put in a lot of the usual K-drama stuff. So this isn't a unique plot. I mean, first of all, the romance between a North Korean and a South Korean, that's been done before. um, Families opposing their choice of lovers, that's been done before. um, Family drama over who inherits the business, that's been done before as well. um, an evil person threatening the life of the leading lady, that's been done before. uh, a third party tries to ruin the relationship with lies, that's been done before as well. So what's amazing about this show for me is that, considering that the plot, all the things happening in the plot have been done before in other K dramas, the fact that it works in this show, and that this show became super popular despite that, is a testament to how good the acting really is, right? This is that one K drama where the actors really took home that plot. And speaking of the plot, I have to give credit to the ending though. I thought it was a beautifully written ending. The Probably one of the more unique things on the plot is the ending itself. Okay, number two. So I think we should all agree that the ending was spectacular, but there's been a lot of requests for a season two. In fact, even in places like Japan, the Philippines, and even in the UK, this drama has become so popular that people are asking about the possibility of a season two. And looking at the popularity, it makes so much sense for Netflix to make a second season. But my problem is, if you do a second season, the only way you're going to be able to do that is to do away with the ending, like at least most of the stuff in the ending, right? And that kind of takes away one of the strongest points of the plot. So as much as I want to see a season two, I'm not sure if they should do it, right? Like only if they can make it really, really worth it should they do it. All right, number three, production value. Again, nothing different from all the K dramas. Beautiful cinematography, absolutely gorgeous locations. Um, but I really think we should give credit to the casting, right? Whoever was in charge of casting deserves an award, because I mean, if there was a best cast award, this show probably should have gotten it. I thought the each of the characters um, played their roles perfectly. They were fit for their roles. There was never really any character that seemed to be out of place. So I thought casting was excellent. I want to move on to the actors, because again, the actors really made this show successful. I thought that definitely MVP goes to the star of the show, which is Ye Jin, who plays Yoon Seri. She's a South Korean heiress, but not just an heiress. She was able to create her own business, um, and became successful on her own, despite opposition from her family, or lack of support from her family. So right away, you know I love the character because she's successful on her own, and she's already proven to be smart, strong, very decisive, and contrasted with her two older brothers, it was very clear. It was very clear that she was very smart, very strong, and that she was the best choice to inherit her father's business, right? Personally, I fell in love completely in love with Son Ye Jin. I have stated this publicly before, and I'll say it again on this show. I will literally swim to South Korea just for a chance to meet Son Ye Jin, and I love her portrayal because um, she got to be really funny in the role despite not making jokes. Like she was able to portray how she was putting on a brave face in North Korea, but she's actually so intimidated. And then when she goes back to South Korea, she was never really like a damsel in distress. It was always mostly her choices. Whether she got hurt or whether she was successful, it was a lot of it was her choice. So I thought that was very very well played on her part. Next, we have to talk about Hyun Bin, of course, runaway star here in the Philippines. He's gotten like two big endorsements just based on this role. So obviously, he performed this role really well. One of the things I thought he did really well on this show is that he was he was this strong, silent type guy, right? But at the same time, he was never overbearing. Like he was always very supportive of Yoon Seri's decisions. He never really decided like, oh, I have to do this and not consult her, or it was always supportive of her, like of her dream. He never once asked her to leave South Korea for North Korea, and I like that. Um, i also uh, I also like the fact that he performed really well when he was stoic, because I think that played a great foil to Yoon Seri's false confidence, right? Her false confidence in North Korea, her headstrong ways played really well with the fact that he was stoic, and so sometimes, by not reacting, he's actually getting more reactions from Son Ye Jin, right? I thought that was I thought they played it beautifully together. I thought their chemistry was on fire. Um, no wonder they've had to keep answering rumors about whether they were really together or not, because their chemistry was really amazing. For number six, I want to talk about Captain Ree's crew. So he had a crew of North Korean soldiers at the border who all screwed up when Yoon Seri crash landed on North Korea. So they were supposed to capture her, but they all screwed up because of their individual weaknesses, and so they've ended up helping Captain Ree, and Yoon Seri tried to escape. Right, and the MVP of this group is Yang Kyung Won, who plays the Master Sergeant Pyo Chi Soo. Okay, so this guy Yang Kyung Won is like the epitome of of the crew, right? He screwed up because he was drinking all night, so he had a hangover. He could not shoot this intruder from South Korea, but also at the same time, like he was always the one that's always against her. He openly disliked her, but at the same time, he was the one that was overtly emotional and protective of her, right, as the series went on. And again, this type of character is not new, right? I mean, we've always had some kind of character like that, but the way he portrayed it, I mean, his facial expressions, the way he talked, I especially like the fact that he fancied himself as a tough soldier, but he was always the one giving out information unintentionally. So he was really really funny. The rest of the crew was funny, but this guy Yang Kyung Won was really, I thought, the MVP of Captain Ree's crew. Number seven, I want to talk about the ladies of the North Korean village. Again, these characters are nothing new, ladies that were catty towards the main character, but then later on develops friendships and comes to love the main character. So again, to be expected, right? But again, the portrayal was so good, and the MVP of this is Kim Sun Young, um, who played Nawul Suk, right? And I mean, like, for straight guys, here's how I'm gonna describe Kim Sun Young. She's like the Robert Horry of K dramas, you know? Like, if you pick out an award winning K drama, a super popular K drama, chances are Kim Sun Young is in the cast. Like, she's always in the cast of a really good K drama. And, you know, she's never the main character. She's always the supporting character. But just like Robert Horry, she's gonna make a big shot. She's gonna make a big play to carry this movie or this team along. And I thought she was really funny. Um, she deserves her Best Supporting Actress award, so she won a Beksang award for that. And you know, I what I love about how they portray the ladies of the North Korean village is that they humanized, actually both the crew and the ladies of the village. They humanized North Korea because it's easy for us to think of North Korea as this monolith of, you know, military forces, people bent on destroying the world. But really, these soldiers are just, they're just people trying to make a living. They're just people following orders, trying to make money for their parents, just trying to live a quiet life. And same with the ladies of the village. They were wives. They were you know, village leaders, and all they really wanted was to provide a good living for their kids and for their husbands. And um, and that really showed, you know, that they can be generous, they can be loyal, they can be loving, and it's good to see that in a country that's always been maligned in the news, right? All right, number eight, food and fun. So, you know, definitely one of the big revelations was the scorched rice crisps. So, actually, this was one of the funniest parts that Sonia Jin played, where she was talking about how she was doing intermittent fasting and that she wasn't eating a lot. But then she ends up eating a lot of these scorched rice crisps with dipped in sugar. So I actually made this at home. So you can make this by just putting a thin layer of rice on the pan and just basically frying it over low heat until you get that brown color, right? And then you break off a piece, dip it in sugar. It's actually really good. But the one thing I want to make is the Clam Bulgogi. So they basically laid out a fire and then a grill, put the clams on, and then just poured alcohol on it. And when it flambés up, you know, the clams open up and then they eat it. And then they pour soju on the clamshells and drink it. And I thought that's amazing. I wish we could do that in a restaurant. I mean, you know, traditionally you open up clams with wine anyway, right? Wine and heat. So they're actually doing the same thing as we do in the fancy restaurants. But I think that flambe would add a nice smoky um, aroma to the clams, and I would love to actually try to do that, but I have to find a way to make it safe so that I don't actually burn the house down. So I'll update you guys if I can actually make that. There's other notable foods like Captain Ree's noodles, which was actually vegetarian. I made that, I hacked that, and it's going to be available on my column on Philippine Star very soon. All right, for the fun part, you know, I thought that there's two I really want to talk about. You know, because as the show got popular, more and more Korean stars actually came in to do cameos. But I thought my two favorite cameos was one from Kim Soo-yoon, who's now starring, if I'm not mistaken, he's starring in It's Okay Not to Be Okay, which I'm going to review once it finishes its run. He plays a North Korean defector who claims that he was sent there by their secret group, but then he seems like the village idiot who delivers chicken, right? So, and I love the fact that they never addressed which one was true. Was he a secret agent or was he just a defector, right? An idiot defector. So I love that they never resolved it. Um, I thought that was extra funny that they didn't resolve it. And then the other cameo, which I loved, was Choi Ji Woo, who's like a superstar from way way back. And early on, they one of the characters, one of Captain Ree's crews, was so obsessed with Korean dramas, right? So he actually memorized the lines from Winter Sonata and Stairway to Heaven, and that was one of the gags running through. And when Yoon Sori actually said, like, if you bring me back to South Korea, I'll give you a reward by having you meet Choi Ji-woon. And I love the fact that they actually followed that up by actually having her appear on the show as herself, which I thought was funny, was really awesome on her part to agree to the cameo. And I think it's interesting because, like, in places like Japan and in the Philippines, Stairway to Heaven and Winter Sonata, both of which starred Choi Ji-won, were landmark K-dramas here. Like, these K-dramas actually spurred the K-drama frenzy a decade ago, or a decade and a half ago. And and I thought that Crash Landing on You has become equivalent to what Winter Sonata or Stairway to Heaven was for at least Gen Z, for this new generation. So it's sort of like a meta Easter egg if you think about it. All right, verdict. It's definitely an easy K drama to digest. A lot of the themes are very universal. So you don't even have to be a K drama fan to understand the themes. And, the melodrama here is caused by a lot of outside factors. Okay. Because usually in K dramas, the reason why the leads don't get together is because they each have their own hang ups and they lie and they never get together, or because a third party tries to break them up. But here, really, a lot of it is based on the whole North South Korea thing, right? So there's not a lot of melodrama about it. You understand why they're being separated. So it's not overly melodramatic. There's a lot of comedy, a lot of action as well. Um, so definitely, this would be a good first K drama for a straight guy to dip their feet into. Easily digestible, beautiful cast, awesome locations, ratings. So usually I do a straight guy rating and then a K drama rating, but I think this time I can combine the two and give it 10 out of 10 Korean hearts. I thought that it did all the right things that K dramas are known for, but at the same time they were able to make it very universal, very appealing, and that's why it has this kind of global success. And I also think that there's a good combination of action, of romance, of comedy, and so that's why I think it's a beautiful package. And I think the ending really takes the cake. Sometimes K dramas have a difficult time finishing their wonderful stories, but these guys were able to land perfectly. All right, that's it. Um, I hope you liked this video. I hope you enjoyed reviewing Crash Landing on You with me. And write down in the comments below if you agree or disagree with me. And of course, if you have a suggestion on the next K drama you want me to review, please put it down in the comments below. Meanwhile, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Meanwhile, you can watch my other videos right now.